Hey everyone, this is Gaijin Goombah, and I got a special guest with me.
Hi,
You gonna say more than that?
I'm Akitara.
She's with me today because we've got a very special Goomba Rage segment, although this isn't very ragey, but it may be a bit stammered. So we've been together for like 3 months now, marriage-wise, and it's something that's always fascinated me. I don't know about her, but something that has fascinated me is seeing all of this forever alone stuff, people talking about how they're never gonna find love, they're never gonna find a significant other, and I've kind of gotten sick of it because I can't help but feel like a lot of people haven't really tried, like they haven't really put in the effort to really do it. But instead of just sitting here complaining about the actions, or in this case, the non-actions of certain people, or I guess just a lot of people, I wanted to put together a guide, not a joke, but like an actual guide of how maybe you can find a significant other through gaming. And this doesn't pertain to male to female, female to male, or male to male, female to female. I mean, this is trying to be very universal. But a quick disclaimer, this will not obviously work 100% of the time. It kind of depends on who you are and what kind of person you're trying to meet. We kind of need a bit more of a humanities studies and analysis to figure this one out for real. But this is based on our experiences, and I think we've got a lot of that. So, anything to add before we get started, sweetie?
Nope.
Alrighty. So, step 1. Stop being a jerk. I really can't believe I have to even talk about this, but there's just so much trash talking, there's so much trolling, there's all this stupid crap, and I think a lot of that has to do with the problems of being forever alone, as it were. So really, just quit it.
Yeah.
You know? Quit being such a stupid jerk. If that's kind of where you're sitting at the moment. Trash talking doesn't really impress anyone. I can't imagine anyone thinking, wow, that person's really attractive because they're really good at trash talking. All of this shush shush, it'll be over soon, that stupid crap. Yes?
No one likes a butthead.
No one really does like a butthead. Trolling is the same thing. Why in the world would anyone want to date a troll? Even a pro troller.
Well, even if you're just doing it just to get a rise out of people still don't want to get to know you, spend time with you, whatever. They don't care. They see it as you just being a piece of to somebody else just because you feel like it.
Well said then. And I mean, take it from the female perspective, guys, because I'm pretty sure the majority of you that are watching this are guys. No woman is impressed by the way that you troll.
Nope.
The other thing, too, is don't be self-righteous, You've got to learn a little bit of humility. It's the same thing. Like, women, I believe that women like confident men, but there's a difference between being confident and self-righteous.
Yeah.
So, and gender jokes, you will never get anywhere.
It depends on the gender jokes.
Such as?
It depends. I mean, if you say, oh, get back in the kitchen, but you mean it in a serious tone, that's going to get a backlash. I mean, if someone says that to me, I'm going to ask them if they want cyanide on their sandwich. But, I mean, say it in a jokey manner, just to get like a ha-ha-ha giggle, whatever. But then again, you also have to hope that the other person does have a good sense of humor.
We're actually going to be getting to that a little bit later on when it comes to being comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the same thing. Gender joking, gay bashing, it's just not going to get you anywhere, guys.
Nope.
So, just step 1. So, moving on, step 2, humanize. Understand that everyone is human. You've got to get that kind of perspective. You can't sit here and think that stereotypes exist because they don't. As much as we all know it, we rarely seem to follow it. The golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's so simple, but it seems to be really hard for a lot of people. Do you have anything to add on that?
Most people suck.
Well, fair enough. Something else that can help too is that, call people out on their stupid crap. Go to the aid of the little guy. People will think you to be a better person for doing it. Shutting down a troll or shutting down just a problem player, you don't have to be aggressive about it or anything, but it can help. It can get people to pay attention to what you're trying to do.
Yeah, stand up for your fellow gamer, I guess, as it were. Don't let people sit there and call them a nerd or a geek or call them a virgin in their mom's basement, crap like that. A lot of people there just saying that don't understand, period.
And really on top of that, something else that you can do to really help is to assist new players, encourage new players. It helps people to see how proactive you are in assisting. It makes you look like a good person. It can score points. Same thing with struggling players. You help them and assist them. You have to be careful not to be kind of a jerk about it, but it still helps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like going back to whenever I played WoW. Gosh, the people. When someone makes a mistake or they ask a simple question, don't be like, noob, noob to play, because that makes you look like a big jerk, and people are not going to want to play with you. They don't even want you on the game anymore whenever you act like that. I mean, everyone that does that, you have to remember that we're all humans. We don't come walking out of the womb knowing how to play these games. We all have to practice and play them, and just help each other. I mean, just the entire world would be a better place if we just helped each other do one thing that can help another person.
Well, pretty much. But at the same time, too, it's going to let people see that you're actually a half-decent person.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's say, for example, that you stood out amongst the crowd and someone's kind of interested. So, that moves on to step 3, and that's all about making some time. You know, when you find a potential significant other, take time out of your day to specifically play with that person. I know that may seem kind of self-explanatory, but it really is important because you need to build up that sort of relationship. Take any advantage of co-op play in whatever game you find each other in as much as possible. It will really strengthen your bond and help build each other up. In some cases, it may be the only way you will be able to interact with your possible significant other.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're playing for people who meet others through a co-op game, if you're looking to, I guess, court the other person, don't do it in a creepy, stalkerish way. Don't, every single day or, every 5 minutes send them a message, and if they don't respond, don't sit there and freak out and spam their inbox or their message board more. It's really creepy. I'm sure that there have been guys, and I know girls who have done this stalkerish crap to guys. I know guys who have done this to girls. It goes both ways on that. But, if you see somebody that you kind of have an interest in, you're like, oh, well, they're really nice, or whatever. Ask them, if you guys are on a co-op game, you're like, hey, can I help you with this? Or do you want to help me with that, it can really help to build that bond there.
It just builds up. And that pretty much leads us into step 4. Diversify. Find other games that the two of you can play and enjoy. It'll help both of you understand about how each other works, how they think. And again, take every chance that you got to play co-op games instead of competitive ones. And we'll get to why that's a good idea a little bit later. But, play a puzzle game together, or play a FPS game together. You learn a lot about the other person by playing different kinds of games. I know that sounds really silly, but it really helps you get into their psyche.
Yeah, when Gaijin and I started dating, we were playing WoW. Well, I got back into it, playing with him. But, we were also playing Castle Crashers. We were also playing Minecraft. We also played...
Resistance 2.
Resistance 2, that multiplayer there. We also played Dead Nation on the PS3 network. Just try different things. Don't just do the, your standard MMO or your standard, shooter game. Try different things. There are a lot of different co-op games out there. And just being competitive, yeah, that's fine. That's all for good fun, But, playing that co-op game, it really does help you guys figure out, will you work together as a couple?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to see each other's faults and each other's strengths, and being able to look at that and, I guess, build upon them and to work at that together really, really, really is something that a lot of people don't do. A lot of people that I know who got married right out of high school never really did anything together, at all. They really did not have that close bondage, and they weren't married for very long.
When you think about it, too, it's kind of like going to the same place on a date. You wouldn't go to the same place every single time because it would get old and it would get boring. The same would work for couples in gaming. You wouldn't want to play the same one game over and over again because you don't do anything new. You don't learn anything new. So you really got to diversify. So that moves on to step 5. And guys, this is going to be the hardest ones for us to do. Suck it up. Now let me elaborate. There are games that your match will like that you will not. And you really just need to accept it. You need to accept the fact that you two are not going to like the same games, and it's really okay. But what you also have to do is that you have to make sure to take time to experience your partner's game, because they will appreciate it no matter how good or bad you are at it. One of the games that Aki's been trying to get me into, and I played very briefly, and I suppose I need to take my own advice, is Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just an RPG, and it just takes a long time to get into, and it's just a time thing for me. But, what else? What were some other games that you were really into that you kind of worked me into?
Well, you didn't want to try Pikmin.
Yeah,
but then you played Pikmin 3, and you're like, oh my god, I need to play the other two.
Well, yeah. You helped me get it. I got us Pikmin 3 with her in mind, and I've beaten it long before she has, so that's the other thing, too.
I've been playing 4 other games.
But see, that kind of, it just shows off my point. The next thing I was going to say is that you may come to like other games through your partner. In my case, really, another game that she got me into was Resistance. I just didn't think I would have much interest in that game, but we played some of the co-op, and when I was over in Japan, I picked up Resistance 2. Thank goodness the international releases worked together, and we had a pretty good time.
Yeah.
And as far as Aki goes, I got her into Left 4 Dead 2, which she really likes.
And Borderlands 2.
And Borderlands.
Before that, I never really played very many FPS games. I played Resistance 1, all the way through with that with this co-op being the one-player campaign, but really, like, I never really played very many beyond that, and I freaking love Left 4 Dead 2.
Right. It's just you just gotta help each other into it, and I suppose that's one thing that I really need to bring up just really quick. Never try to bring your significant other. Okay, like in the case if it's a guy trying to bring a girl in, be very careful because there are a lot of areas, and I don't mean to bash games like Halo or COD or anything like that, but when they're not very well receptive to women, it may not be the best of ideas. You gotta be careful with that.
Yeah, it can go the same way. I mean, if the person that you're trying to court really isn't a gamer, I guess. I mean, yeah, if you want to introduce them with, if you play COD, if you play Counter-Strike, if you play Halo, if you play, things like that, don't be like, oh, here, I'll do it for you. Let them figure it out. I mean, it's the same with, don't get me wrong, it's the same with a kid who's never played, a Pokemon game or a Mario Kart game. Let them figure it out. And then if they say, oh, I can't do this, can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
Then help them. Mm-hmm. And this goes, guys helping, your potential girlfriend, and girls with your potential boyfriends. Because, I actually know a couple of girlfriends from high school who played video games who got their boyfriends into playing games.
The one time you kind of got under my skin was when I was first trying to play Pigman. And you kept telling me what everything did all the time, over and over.
Excited.
I know, but see, that's the thing. You got to be careful not to get too excited that your potential partner is playing a game that they don't know that you really like. You have to let them learn it on their own and just kind of cheer them on. So this kind of leads into the next little minor topic: is talk to your partner about frustrations that you have. Don't bottle it up. Don't vent it in really bad ways. Like in my case. Aki and I, if you saw what was that? There was another video that I did talking about her and just kind of relationship advice, much like this video. I talked about how she always beat me in Mario Kart, and somewhat recently we were playing Mario Kart 64, and she just kept beating me over and over and over again. I was just talking to her. I was like, this really isn't fun. I'm just losing all the time. So and I wasn't mean about it. I was just like, we need to maybe find something else to do.
Yes.
And we turned to Mario Kart Double Dash, which is weird, but the co-op driving we have a lot of fun with. We just wish that it would last a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But it was just a ton of fun. Talk to your partners about frustrations that you have in gaming. Don't hold it in. Don't let rage build up. And for the love of God, never, ever take revenge on your partner, even if it's just for laughs. I mean, it's okay, I suppose, but you really, really need to have a good understanding that your partner knows that you're just picking on them for fun. You gotta be really careful with that. So that kind of leads us into step 6, getting goofy in-game. Now, a lot of you out there are really going to roll your eyes at this. I swear to you, this works, especially if you're in a circumstance where you can't see each other physically all that often or at all. A lot of people bash it. I say there is absolutely nothing wrong with a Halo wedding.
Or a WoW wedding.
Or a WoW wedding. Anything related to that, because we live in a world now where we can communicate and do things well beyond our own borders. And I actually know of some people that have strictly online relationships because they just can't find anything else in the real world. And you might call that pathetic and stupid, but for one reason or another, these people can meet and they can be happy with each other. And if they're happy, why should we try to stop that for what I guess we would call normality's sake? Just don't do it. But experience the game beyond what it was meant to be. For us, we would have crazy little WoW dates.
Yep.
What were some of the places?
On the WoW dates, we went out to Azurmist Island.
Oh, yeah.
You also held like a little fireworks show.
Yep.
In Minecraft for my birthday, you made dug like a separate mine thing elsewhere, and you had like a storyline going on with it. Like
it was a Minecraft adventure.
Yeah,
yep.
That was really sweet.
See, and that works. Another thing we did, we would go in WoW. We went before it was flooded completely. We went to the Thousand Needles and just watched car races and stuff. Mm-hmm. And we would RP. We would roleplay. We would roleplay our characters because it was something that both of us were really into and we had a lot of fun. And I really miss, by the way.
It's $15 a month.
I know. But there's alternatives. But anyway, online intimacy, in my opinion, is completely justified when it's with two people that really care about each other. Because sometimes that's all you can do. For our case, for a good solid year, it's the only thing that Aki and I could do. And that was what, in my opinion, kept the relationship together. If we didn't have that, we probably wouldn't have our relationship because we couldn't create it and foster it and help it grow. So I don't care what anyone says, just have fun with the game outside of its own parameters. Have fun with it in stupid, geeky, lovey-dovey ways. Mm-hmm. So let's move on to the last step, stepping into real life. Relationships It's debatable, but I would say a lot of times, most of the time, a relationship cannot survive through gaming alone. You have to have real life interaction with each other, and even if it's something as small as being on Skype or actually physically being with the other person, you really need to do it. You need to share other things. You need to share music, movies, television, stuff like that, because that's really getting to know the person. Knowing their gaming life is just one small aspect of who this person is, and you really gotta figure out who they are as a complete person, you know? Anything you want to add?
And keep in mind that a lot with the video games, how you're not always going to like the same genre in video games. Same goes for music and movies and television shows. Like, I like the big fighting movies and zombie stuff, Gaijin doesn't really much care for.
Robo Geisha.
Hey, I like Robo Geisha.
And that's
I like
fine.
Robo Geisha.
And that's fine. I'm not a big fan of that kind of movie. But she is, and that's okay.
And I like Kitty, and you don't care for Kitty.
Well, that's because, never mind, that's for another video. Anyway, and some things that you can do. For the love of God, go to cons together. It's so less stressful going to a con when you're there with your significant other. For the girl side, you're not going to get hit on. At least not that much. I mean, sweetie, in your case, when we've gone to a couple of conventions together, how many times did you get uncomfortably hit on?
With you next to me? Not very many.
Well,
but if it was just me, then yeah, there'd be a couple guys. But I'm like, oh yeah, my husband's over there. And they're like, oh.
Yeah. And guys, having your woman or even your man by your side, it gives you a really big confidence boost. And ladies, and I suppose men that swing that other way, remember that. Remember that it really helps boost the mindset of the typical male. It makes them feel stronger, or what's a good example? I guess for me, this is a guilty pleasure. I love making other guys jealous because I have Aggie. It's not nice, I admit that. But it's a humongous confidence booster when, like, for a good example, we were at SGC, and she was up on the stage where DJ Cutman was, and she was just dancing her little heart out. And then there were guys trying to get up and around her, and she would just walk away from them and go straight to me. And you guys have no idea how good that made me feel. So remember that little thing. So that's all I got. So, sweetie, do you have any final thoughts?
When you go to cons together, don't be like possessive, jealous type. I mean, if your significant other's gonna cheat on you, then they're not worth your time. I mean, first of all. And, I mean, if someone gives them a compliment and they immediately like, oh yeah, thank you, my boyfriend or my girlfriend helped me with this, blah, 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 and then, like, say you have, like in my case, some hot guy dressed as Dante comes up, flirt with me, I'd be like, hey, you're really cute, but hey, my husband is here, and he's so much better than you.
Wow, sorry. You gotta be careful with that. And ladies, for real, cons are one of the places where guys will see the most cleavage. Period.
You're going to get hit on.
Well,
probably.
Well, I'm not, that wasn't the point. What I was saying is that if you catch your guy wandering their eyes a little bit, cut him some slack. Cause it's just really hard. Speaking as a guy, it's just really hard not to wander once in a while.
It's a guy thing, definitely. But then again, okay, girls, come on. A guy dressed up as, I don't know, name your hot favorite video game male character. You're gonna sit there and tell me that your eyes are gonna try to sneak a peek? Even with, like, your boyfriend sitting right there? Oh, yeah, you're gonna be like, ooh, what? I wasn't looking.
Just don't be possessive. Really, that's just kind of the bottom line with that. And one more thing. Cosplaying together, like doing couples cosplay, can be a lot of fun. But the moment that the costume becomes really frustrating, drop it completely, because all it's going to do is put strain on both of you. We had one of those not too long ago. But you got to let it go. Never, if there's ever anything that's going to hurt your relationship, drop it immediately. So anyway, that's all we've got for now. But I did one thing. I asked fans to send testimonies about how they met their gamer loves, and I wanted to share that with you all too. So have a look, because I think these are really good testimonials.
Hi, I'm Allochii, and this is Auto Talent, and we are here to tell you how we first met. It was at a party? Yeah.
I was having a party at my house, and you came over with your brother, and I was just playing computer games in my room because it was boring out there.
Yeah, there were a lot of people I didn't know there, so I went into the bedroom just to get away from everybody, and you were in there, and we started talking, and well, I'm not gonna do this. You told me that you like Pokemon, and I like Pokemon, so we just kind of high-fived and went from there.
Yeah.
And now we pretty much do everything together, Minecraft, Borderlands, other stuff.
Magic.
Magic. Yep. And we love each other.
A bit.
A bit.
Hey, I'm Alex,
And I'm Kelly.
and we're from The Decks. It's a show all about Pokemon, and actually, if you're wondering why our background is a little bit different than it normally is, it's because we're actually, ironically, at summer camp where we're camp counseling, and
That summer camp itself, 2 years ago, is where we became interested in each other enough to want to start dating each other.
yeah, it was like the beginning of everything. And I mean, we knew each other before that, but this is where we first really got to like spend time with each other. And since this is like the gamer, like getting a gamer geek girl or whatever video, you should also know that the first like main thing we had in common was Pokemon,
Yeah.
obviously. And you know, I remember I taught her how to EV train.
The first time, I mean, I'd known Alex for 2 years before I actually like saw him in a whole new light. I never even knew he played Pokemon really until I was playing it, and then he was like, "Oh, you play Pokemon? I love that game." Spent like my freshman year failing out of college to play that game. He's okay now, don't worry.
I'm fine.
But he was like, "You know how to EV train, right?" And I was like, "What's that?" He was like, "I'm gonna blow your mind right now." And we went outside and he told me all about what EV training was, and it just like blew my brains apart. And after that, I was like, I've got to talk to this guy more. If I want to be the best like no one ever was, this guy's gonna help me do it.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's really great. We've been in a relationship for 2 years now. Now we have a YouTube show together that's awesome and super fun to do. And, you know, it's just great to be in a relationship with somebody who has such similar interests to me. And it's great that it's video games because a lot of the times that's like a main thing that like couples can't agree on is video games.
Girls are always like, "Why do you play video games all the time?"
Yeah.
Like and comics and stuff too. For
Yeah.
example, I was at work in the break room not too long ago,
Uh-huh.
and this girl was on the phone with her boyfriend, and then she was like, she's younger than me, even probably by like a year or two, and then she was like, "I don't care who you are too old to wear Batman socks." And in my mind, I was just like, no.
I currently
No, you're not.
wear Batman pajamas that her parents purchased for me.
That's true. Last Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, it's great. It's great to be this way. It's fun. It's good. Everything is good.
I like you.
Yeah, I like you too. Bye.